Live from Schellenberger Field on the campus of the University of Lynchburg, you're watching the ODAC men's soccer quarterfinals on LHSN. Lynchburg ends the regular season on a 7-game win streak. Today they play host to the Shenandoah Hornets, who make their first ever appearance in the ODAC postseason tournament. 2 versus 7 matchup. Earlier today was Washington and Lee and Hampton City. That's the 1-8 matchup, and it's still currently underway out in Lexington, Virginia. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. TJ Wingard here with you. We're showing you some of the stats entering the matchup. These two teams were set to take on one another back on the 16th of this month. It would have been homecoming for Lynchburg. But due to COVID-19 protocols, Shenandoah was forced to forfeit both that game against Lynchburg and the preceding matchup against Washington and Lee. Lots of talent out on the pitch. Let's give you some players to watch. Nathan Yared, freshman from Springfield, Virginia, 8 goals, 7 assists. That's where you get the 23 points, 4th most in the ODAC. Such a great playmaker and one of many young players in the starting lineup today for Shenandoah. On the other side, the junior Luke Mega, 8 goals this year, including 1 in the season finale against Bridgewater. He opened the scoring against the Eagles in that final game of the regular season. And between the posts, taking on shots from both Yared and Mega, starting with Shenandoah, 00 Travis Jett, junior from Mechanicsville, started the season opener, then missed 8 consecutive games, but then has started 7 in a row, enters today 4th in the ODAC in save percentage you saw. And on the other end, Justin Ennis, no goals allowed in the last 3 games played for the senior, hailing from Gainesville, Virginia. 1.14 goal against average, save percentage at 68%. And a couple of great coaches for both these programs. Zach McDougall has done a fantastic job. Has Shenandoah at 8-8-2 on the regular season, their best finish since 2008. And on the other side, when you think of Lynchburg men's soccer, you may think Bill Schellenberger, but Chris Yeager, not far behind. 7-time ODAC champion, 6-time conference coach of the year, 1-time national coach of the year, in his 19th year at the helm for Lynchburg. The stage is set. We're excited to get underway. Postseason action back in Lynchburg, Virginia. All time, the Hornets are 15-3. Or I should say Lynchburg is 15-3 against Shenandoah. That's going to be a fun one to keep track of all day long. Those only losses for Lynchburg came back in 1992, 1998, and 1999. So it's been 14 consecutive wins for Lynchburg over Shenandoah. And it looks like referees right at midfield still sorting out a couple more items of discussion before we can get play underway. But now the refs joining the players out on the pitch, and looks like we're getting ready for first touch. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in today. It's going to be a fun one. We'll provide you some updates as we go along in that Hampton-Sydney, Washington, and Lee matchup. And this game will come to a close just before we get into the next 2 games, making up our quarterfinal slate in the ODAC men's soccer bracket. First touch, and we are underway. Joey Daly, the left back for Lynchburg, heads it down for Mega. Can't handle it on the near sideline. It's going to be a throw-in coming from number 19, Nicholas Mukati. Heads it towards the 18, looking for Yared. Another throw-in now for Shenandoah, who ended the regular season winners of 2 of their last 3. The loss was in the season finale at the hands of Randolph-Macon out in Ashland, Virginia, 2-0 final. 2 games preceding that, 6-0 victory against EMU, 2-0 W against Ferrum. Mukati rolls it up the near side off the foot of Daly. This is a Shenandoah team that came in today ranked, tied for 6th in goals scored this season with 33. But again, keep in mind, 2 of the losses on the slate were forfeits, so no opportunity to add to that total against Washington and Lee or Lynchburg. So it's really interesting when you look at the Shenandoah team where the stats might have been had they gotten the chance to play either or both of those 2 matches. Overall, Shenandoah 8-8-2 on the regular season and 3-4-2 in ODAC play. Lynchburg on the other side, the number 2 seed, 12-4-1 on the year, 8-1 in ODAC play. The lone loss to the number 1 seed, Washington and Lee. Mega back to Daly. Cleaning up the play. On the near side, Shenandoah forces Lynchburg. Throw it in. Lynchburg will reset across a very veteran back line. Joey Daly and Griffin Phillips, left back, and one of the 2 center backs, both seniors. Great ball forward from Foley, the grad student, looking for Robles. Stepping forward, Travis Jett cuts off the pass. And the final member of that back 4 for Lynchburg on the far end, right back, junior Seth Dale. Started every game this year. And when we talk about all the experienced players for Lynchburg, Mega gives chase, gets past Logan Whitted. Coming on from the backside, good clear from Minor Menendez. That's a potential goal-saving slide tackle there from Menendez. Great play for the sophomore from Woodbridge, Virginia. But you hear me call out some of these grades at players for Shenandoah and what class that they're in. You're going to hear a lot of freshmen and a lot of sophomores. 10 of the 11 starters, underclassmen. The lone exception is Travis Jett, the junior goalkeeper. So it's a very young Shenandoah team going against a very experienced and upperclassmen heavy, at least starting group, for Lynchburg. Jett with the goal kick, .85 goal against average this year. 3 shutouts in the season as well. Long ball rolls all the way towards Yared. Cleared away by Phillips. Going back to the topic of ages of players and experience versus younger group, Lynchburg does have a new addition to the starting 11. Zach Whelan makes his first appearance in the starting lineup. He's another underclassman. Him and Brennan Lagana, 2 sophomores in the mix, as well as Monzi Shalita. Everyone else, juniors and seniors for Lynchburg. Here's the aforementioned Lagana giving way to Shalita. Lofting forward, Robles stays on side, gets behind Menendez. Then has it poked away. Some help from a second defender in the form of Matthew DeLugos. So Lynchburg's had some chances, been able to get behind Shenandoah's back line, but nothing to show for it. Still without our first official shot, just over 5 minutes into the match. Shenandoah joined the ODAC conference in 2012. This is their first time making the postseason tournament. And today could also bear more history. It's the cross to Mega. This is wide right, far side post. Shenandoah still looking for their first win against Lynchburg since joining the conference in 2012. And in that duration of time, Lynchburg's only given up 1 goal to Shenandoah. That came on October 23rd, 2019. All told, scoring difference, 36-1. So it's been a little one-sided, but Shenandoah with a chance to change that in a big way. And, of course, as a 7 seed, afforded the opportunity to be a big spoiler to Lynchburg in their pursuit of going back-to-back as ODAC champions. Long ball forward. Closest to it was Connor Robles on the near side. Ennis will play it short. Yared as well as Nicholas Vavra, the top of the press for Shenandoah. We talked about Yared as a player to watch. In close consideration is, of course, Nicholas Vavra. Team high 9 goals. That's 4th most in the ODAC. But only won the last 4 games. That was against EMU. So Vavra ended regular season slate a little colder. But he's someone who's certainly in the mix on the offensive side for Shenandoah and has the potential to strike at any moment. 2 multi-goal games. Same can be said about Nathan Yared, so certainly players that Lynchburg's going to have to try to account for. You'll see a lot of this today. Lynchburg very comfortable being patient, passing along their back line. And they have a couple of really nice passers in the forms of Phillips, Foley, Dale, and Daly. Left-footed strike from Lagana, well outside the box. Second shot of the day, both for Lynchburg. No shots on goal. One more look at it. Lagana, you want to talk about ability to score at any moment. It's plays like that. He'll take it off the chest, set it up for himself. And you look at the top of the attack for Lynchburg. It is deadly, to say the least. You have Lagana flanked to his left by Luke Megan. On his right, Kenny Robles. No Bailey Kearns in the starting lineup today, but once you get to the reserves, Kearns, Trevor Miller's been a really impressive freshman down the stretch. Liam Lovell got a couple of goals this season as well. Michael Rendon got his first collegiate goal in the season finale against Bridgewater. And now we'll start to see some reserves make their way out onto the pitch. First comes from Shenandoah. Jack Meixner, senior from Reston, Virginia. He's coming on for Minor Menendez. Meixner with 1 goal this year. That game against Wilson. Sent towards the 6. NS flies in. Ends the Shenandoah run where it stood. We're seeing Ennis feeling comfortable laying it off and starting Lynchburg possessions with Phillips or Foley. Gets to Whelan in the midfield, taken away. Nathan Yared trying to create space. Whelan on the backside of the play. Essentially serves as a box out against Yared as Ennis slides in. Lynchburg went undefeated at home this year. 7-0-1. The tie was in their second home game of the season against CNU. Good ball forward, Mega. Trying to spin it back towards Lagana, streaking down the middle of the pitch. Left the pass a little out in front of the sophomore. And a lot of times going back to the home slate for Lynchburg, we saw a fair amount of one-sided affairs, especially in regards to possession. The season opener against Covenant. Later in the year against Maryville. Big win against EMU. Guilford, Ferrum. Good opportunity for Shenandoah, and that is really what I'm alluding to today, at least in the first 10 minutes or so. That has not been the case early on. Cross back, middle of the box, and the shot squibs past the post. So give credit to Shenandoah. They have been able to come out early, provide some offensive opportunities for themselves. And in this setting, playing at home, there haven't been a whole lot of those to go around, as Lynchburg has been a very dominant team, controlling the pace of play, keeping the ball at their feet, headed forward, back towards the 18. It's too hot, and it rolls past Yared. Makes it all the way back to Ennis. Averett fields the pressure off of his back. Jack Meixner lets Averett know he's behind him. Phillips looking long, misses Robles. This is a Lynchburg offense that finished the regular season third in the ODAC in goals with 40. Yared trying to sneak it through. Robles was the near side, or at least the near third. At least a good idea coming from Yared. Headed down by Chris Chaplin. Mega picks up the loose ball, gives it away. Robles loses it. It's with Shalita. Sophomore in and out of the box. Tries to give it back to Mega. Mega wins it for Lynchburg. Can't split the double team. Robles forward for Yared with Foley on his back. Foley, the grad student, one of two fifth-year players for Lynchburg. You can also lump Bailey Kearns in there to where it's really three. On the roster, it shows Foley and Gallagher as grad students, while Kearns is just a senior. But they're all players that have been here for 5 years. Free kick just beyond midfield. Chris Chaplin, a sophomore from Ashburn, Virginia. Started every game but one. That was against Ferrum. He'll have the honors. Who's immediate right is Nicholas McCarty. Said the pass goes to Yared just outside the 18. Lays it back. Vavra to the 12. Punted up by Foley. Possession does stay with Shenandoah, and I know we're still early on, but this might mark the most possession we've seen Lynchburg forfeit, for lack of a better term, or have an opponent mount up against since that CNU 1-1 tie. So again, credit to the Shenandoah Hornets making it tough in the early goings. Thrown from the far side. That came from Seth Dale, junior from Chesterfield, Virginia. Makes his 17th start of the year. Immediately taken away by Shenandoah, however. Yared. Over to Meixner. Nothing doing, and Lynchburg sends it all the way back to Logan Whitted. Another player from Chesterfield, Virginia, coming from Manchester High School. Whited closed out the regular season, making 4 consecutive starts, make it 5, as he was in the starting 11 today. Shots even at 2 for each side. It's a little bit of a gloomy day here in Lynchburg. Some blue skies out and about, but a fair amount of cloud coverage as well. No rush from Ennis. Now Vavra, Yared step forward. Going to start applying the press. Shalita drops all the way back. And it's a spot where early on in this contest it was really just Foley and Phillips in front of Ennis. But Shenandoah's done such a good job creating chances and using that press to create some good looks on the offensive end. So you bring back Shalita, who's a good dribbler, good passer, just an extra body. Mid-game adjustment already for Lynchburg, and that's what the postseason's all about. Especially in the early goings when you're still trying to see how your opponent reacts to player movements, passing sequences, everything of that nature. You're going to start seeing both these coaches, Coach Yeager for Lynchburg and Coach McDougall for Shenandoah, start to make tweaks and slide players forward, back, you name it. Phillips to take the free kick. He's going to reverse it over to Joey Daly. 2 goals this year. Tended inside the box, wanted Robles, deflected out. Averett had it for a moment. Last time these two teams actually got to play, I guess keep in mind it was a forfeit earlier this year, came back in March of 2021 and the COVID-19 spring season these two teams played last year. 3-0 Lynchburg win. Goals coming from Ben Mackey, Josh Auger, and Carter Averett. Averett with it now. Swings over to Dale. Gets it forward to Lagana, but then poked away immediately by Matthew Buckler. 6 consecutive starts for Buckler towards the end of the year. Throw in for Shenandoah in the attacking third. 28.5 minutes left in the first half. He was right to Yared, and he was our player to watch for a reason. You've heard me call his name a lot already. Slow roller right to Ennis. Senior keeper gobbles it up. And when you look at Yared's stats on the year, 8 goals is impressive in its own right, but it's not just that he creates for himself and has good striking ability. 7 assists. He's a playmaker. He can create for his teammates as well. Wheel and slide tackle. It's a clean one at that. Comes in just before Jason Acosta could have gotten to the 18. And to continue the theme of how this feels a little backwards for Lynchburg, if you've been watching our LHSN broadcast for Lynchburg men's soccer, they've been the team bringing the press forward, creating turnovers and a plethora of looks. And while it's still 2-2 shots for each side, we're starting to see Shenandoah be the team that has the advantage of having their defense lead to offense deep into attacking possession. Whelan, as I noted at the top of the broadcast, first start of the season, had played in 15 games during the regular slate, 3 goals, including one in the season finale against Bridgewater. Also the game winner at Randolph. Shalita creates space. The strike at the 18, deflected away by Jet. Rebound opportunity. Who else but Luke Mega to put Lynchburg ahead 1-0. Ninth goal of the year for the junior, hailing from Glen Allen, Virginia. Shenandoah has controlled possession, but the Hornets, being Lynchburg, can strike just as quick as any team in the ODAC, and case in point on that possession. Shalita gets past a pair of defenders. The shot on net. Jet can't handle it. And Mega from that close, with the keeper down on the ground, you can count it 100 times out of 100. 1-0 lead for Lynchburg. And now it's interesting to see how Shenandoah responds. Do they double down on the aggressive nature they've been playing with? Coach McDougall on the sideline gesturing to his teammates, or his team, wanting his players to settle down, seemingly saying it's okay. So far, Shenandoah has looked good. As I've said, they have presented a formidable challenge, more so than we've seen in a while against this Lynchburg team. You give up the goal, but you stick with your game plan, you can get it right back. Cleared away by Foley, as Nathan Yarrow was able to get past a pair of Lynchburg defenders. Connor Robles lays back. Not the best clear from Whelan, but slips through to Robles. Looking long, deflected off the body of Buckler. Racing towards the end line, Robles keeps it in. Closest defender is Daly. And the senior left back takes it away. And Robles is going to be called for the foul, putting his hands on the back of Daly. Easy call for near side AR. So our Lynchburg player to watch breaks the scoring. Mega finished last year with 9 goals. He's now got that total to this point in the quarterfinals of the ODAC season. Lynchburg hoping to go on a run like they did last year. Lynchburg was a lower seed, though, so they had to do it in a little bit of an unconventional manner. But last year, Lynchburg rained off 3-2 in the quarterfinals, then went to Hampton-Sydney, topped the Tigers 2-1 in overtime, and then hosted the championship game and breezed past Guilford 5-1. That's the 2 seed. They're in a position, though, to have home field all the way through, the exception being if they face W&L in the ODAC championship game. Again, this team went 7-0-1 at home. Home field advantage would certainly be a big plus for Lynchburg. Mega makes it through everybody. Sent towards Lagana. Jet comes out, gets his hands on it. Nice play for our Mechanicsville, Maryland native. Good slide tackle from Robles, forces Shenandoah to throw it in right at the midfield line. Daly tries to clear, hits off the foot of Robles. Update from Lexington, Virginia. Washington and Lee out in front 1-0 over Hampton-Sydney, who made it as the 8 seed with a double overtime game winner. Take that final spot away from Bridgewater. Goal coming in the 57th minute for the Generals. That game currently in the 66th. Just over midway through the first half. Foley over to Phillips. Booms it ahead. Shalita comes on from the backside. Knocks Whitted off the wall. Easy foul to go against Shalita. Off the head of Whelan. Gets out to Ennis, who's a step ahead of Yared. That's a really tough play for Ennis to try to make in a split-second type of judgment setting. But if he waits back, Yared looked like he had a step on Phillips. Would have been a tough shot given the angle, but looks like it could have created a scoring chance for Shenandoah. So good decision for Ennis coming out and being decisive, doing it quick. Matthew Allen checks in. Sophomore from Vienna, Virginia. Scored earlier this year against Ferrum. That was on senior day. 2-0 victory over the Panthers. Seth Dale looks for space. Gives to Mega. Over to Whelan. Tries to get it back to Mega. Possession still live. Deflected. Back towards Jet. Whelan a step away from getting to it first. Talked about in the open. Travis Jet, the goalkeeper for Shenandoah, started the season opener. Then missed 8 consecutive games. Returned starting lineup September 29th against Bridgewater. Yared lets it fly. Hits the body of Daly. Third shot of the day for Shenandoah. Allen on the near side. Foley picks him up. Both get their feet tangled. Flag goes up and signals Lynchburg possession. And Foley a little slow to get up, but back on his feet. Talking more about Jet, it's really impressive how big of an impact he's made between the posts. And it's really impressive when you consider he's the only upperclassman starting for Shenandoah. Everybody else, freshmen and sophomores. Helps having that experienced player, that veteran, between the posts. He can see the entire field. He can communicate with everyone in front of him. And then also great play between the posts. .85 goal against average. Save percentage at 82.5%. That'll help as well. All that plus Great offensive play from Nicholas Vavra, Nathan Yared, and plenty of others. 8-2 regular season finish for Shenandoah, their best since 2008. Allen works right to left, takes a strike with his left foot, deflected away by Foley. Dale clears back towards midfield. Robles able to keep it in, backheels it off the body of DeLugos. So Lynchburg earns the throw in. And if you're unaware about how the ODAC bracket's going to play out, winner of this one will be on the semifinals on Wednesday, November 3rd, and we'll play the winner of either Virginia Wesleyan or Randolph-Macon. So if Lynchburg wins, they're hosting, and we'll take on the Marlins or the Yellow Jackets. If Shenandoah can overcome the one-goal deficit, come out as the victors, and get their first win since 1999 against Lynchburg, they would hit the road to either Ashland or Virginia Wesleyan. Less than 19 minutes left in the first half. Booted back to Foley. Stepping up, applying some pressure, Vavra. Sophomore from Arlington, Virginia. Lagana chips it up, Whelan. Looked like he was about to go airborne. Instead, it's taken away by Shenandoah back towards midfield. We're going to try to cross it over to Allen. Two teams exchange possessions. And we'll continue to do so. Down under 18 minutes left in the first half. Jet ahead to Buckler. And holding mid position back to Whitted. Yared with plenty of space. Right around midfield, Foley times it perfectly, takes it back for Lynchburg. Foley's been fantastic on the defensive end, but also been a factor on the offensive side. 4 goals, largely on set pieces. But it's really been impressive to watch Foley not only be such a great player, but in year one of a 2-year grad program, starting to be a physician's associate, University of Lynchburg. And he's in that program and classes every day 8 to 5. It is no easy task trying to balance that and soccer. Zach Whelan checks out. Liam Lovell comes on for Lynchburg. Meanwhile, Pedro Flor comes on for Shenandoah. Junior from Brazil. And Lovell coming on. He is sent out towards the far side where Robles started the game, and Robles has shifted over the near side wing. Still with Lagana, primarily working in between the two. Throw-in comes from Lagana. On these plays, you'll typically see him get it inside the 18, and from this position, send it right towards 12-yard stripe. And a lot of times you'll see Bailey Kearns backhead it. Here it's Foley trying to do the same. Kearns on the sideline, not in uniform, so it does not look like we will see senior from Broad Run, Virginia today. Lovell, junior from Haymarket, Virginia, a couple of scores this year. 17th game played. The key reserves for Lynchburg. Coach McDougall signals to his team, trying to bring players forward. And as Lynchburg was trying to reset on the back line, take advantage, apply some pressure, try to create a turnover and a numbers advantage back the other way. Instead, we get a whistle and a pause in the play. It'll be a throw-in for Shenandoah on the far sideline. The crowd forms on that track. The other end of the pitch. Great place to watch a game here on the University of Lynchburg's campus. Also have the Westover Hall decks. Creates for a fun atmosphere, especially once you get to postseason. These crowds get larger and larger as the year draws on. Averett back to Foley. Flora applies the pressure for Shenandoah at the top of what would be Shenandoah's attack, but right now, having tried to speed up Lynchburg as they're content working it from one end of the field to the other, building from the back line, letting things materialize up the pitch. Robles picked up by Oconti. Lovell first touch towards Lagana. Broken up by Whitted. All-time scoring advantage for Lynchburg at 52-5. Again, 15-3 historically against Shenandoah. Mega dribbles it across the end line. Goal kick coming for Jet. Jet booms it ahead to midfield. Averett gets ahead on it, as does Robles, but it's picked up by Matthew Allen. Another defender comes, cuts off the angle. They'll signal Lynchburg possession. The offenses came out swinging for both teams. And in specific for Shenandoah, it would create a lot of turnovers, bring their forwards forward. Lack of a creative sentence there. But since the goal from Mega, it's been a lot more evenly battled, much more possession-oriented. Hasn't been quite as back-and-forth shot-for-shot exchange. Instead, we've seen play like this. Chipped ahead, chipped back. Picked up by one player, taken away by another. Whistle blown. Here's a chance for Shenandoah, just on the edge of the attacking third. Approaching the 12-minute mark left in the first half. Looks like it's Matthew Buckler. The honors to take. Kenny Robles, one-player wall in front of Buckler. Freshman from Maryland. Chips it inside the 6-yard box. Ennis gets his hands on it. Shots even, 4 for each team. Ennis with plenty of leg to spare. That's such a huge advantage for Lynchburg. That, and they have players like Lovell, Robles, Lagana, Averett, Kearns when he's playing. You know, to go up and climb the ladder and win possession on those deep goal kicks, or just in general when you're about to see right here from Ennis. Sends it out towards midfield looking for Mega, and there you see it, case in point. Robles gets to Lagana, who stays on side. Sophomore ahead of Chaplin. Lays back for Mega. Hard bending pass over the head of Robles and right at Jet. But my point, and to continue it, with Ennis' leg, he's just able to create so much breathing room, and at least, especially early on in this match, was a good example of it. Allow his defense to get a moment to catch their breath, reset, even if it's just for a moment or two. He's able to get it out towards midfield and even clear the line. Just force Shenandoah or whoever Lynchburg's playing to fully reset. Such a huge advantage. Sometimes you'll see teams struggle to do just that, and that's when you see teams like Lynchburg, Washington, and Lee does it at a high level, constantly putting pressure on their opposing defense. Mega loses it, picked up by Floor. Looking for Yared. Phillips there to break up the pass. Not to play, you won't see it in the box score, but that's a big stop there for Phillips. Daly gets it away from McCarty. Vavra, haven't called his name a whole lot today, especially on the offensive side. He turns it over. Shalita picks it up. Gets it to Robles, and then Allen from behind. Pokes it free. McCarty to Allen. Lays off Floor. Knocked down by Phillips. No foul on the play. Lynchburg's defense comes away with another stop. 11 versus 11 here. Lagana with Buckler on his hip. Loses possession. Miscue from Yared. So he was trying to cross, just had it slip underneath his left foot. Followed by good sportsmanship between Yared and Shalita. Pair of really talented underclassmen with Lookout Odak. Those two in specific could present plenty of challenges moving forward. Going to have some substitutions for both teams. Checking at the next available opportunity. Brendan Zabava for Shenandoah. For Lynchburg, I saw Michael Rendon. It'll also bring on Patrick Bakunis and Trevor Miller. 3 come on for Shalita, Robles, and Lagana. Leaving the pitch for Shenandoah's Connor Robles. Less than 8 minutes left in the first half. It's been very evenly fought. The difference right now was the one run for Lynchburg where Shalita created some space, took the shot. It was a big save from Jet, but couldn't keep his hands on it and deflected all the way back out to Mega. And right around the 12-yard box, Mega was able to convert and come through in a big score as Daly gets it up the near sideline, and he is down, and it looks like in a lot of pain on the near sideline. And Daly plays a position where you're never quite at 100%. You're always tussling with some aggressive forwards, and the nicks and bruises can add up. And now holding his shin, Daly, again, looks to be in a lot of pain. First team All-ODAC last year, the senior from Raleigh, North Carolina. Athletic trainers make their way out to the pitch. Also, head coach Chris Yeager checking in on Joey Daly. Clock stops with 7:35 left in the first half. Chance for both teams to catch their breath as Daly is treated. There you see assistant coach Josh Hinkle. As much as Chris Yeager does a fantastic job leading this program, a lot of credit has to go to the assistant coaches for Lynchburg as well. Josh Hinkle, Ryan Pakunis, and Scott Zaring. And the same could be said for Shenandoah. Credit to Christopher Higgins, Brian May, and Lucas Turney. Daly is back on his feet. That's a welcome sign. Walking under his own power. Keep in mind, Lynchburg, no Bailey Kearns today. And Kearns is pretty much everywhere on the pitch. A factor on the offensive end, career high, 4 goals and 3 assists this year. Does a great job helping out Carter Averett. And when it's not Averett, someone like Michael Rendon in his place. Controlling and keeping possession with Lynchburg right around the midfield. And also a factor on the defensive end. Very scrappy, creates turnovers, good on aerial set pieces both on the offensive and defensive end. So for Daly to be hurt, you're down another usual starter for Lynchburg. Hopefully Daly can check back in. We'll update you that throughout the rest of this match. Foley slides over. And actually now he's going to shift back towards that center back spot. Joey Daly is already back out on the pitch, so everything I just said, throw it out the window. Daly seems to be okay. And you can see the senior trotting forward. Looks like he's going to throw in. Sometimes you'll see that in soccer. If you're new to the sport, players will get hurt and then for the chance to come back on pretty quickly. Sebastian Quiroz Gutierrez waiting to check in for Lynchburg. He'll get the chance to do so now. Quiroz Gutierrez comes on for Mega. And that's something you'll see Lynchburg do with every match they play. 8 to 10 minutes or so left in the first half. You'll see players like Shalita, Lagana, Robles, Mega get a chance to have an extended halftime, as I like to call it. Throw and misses everybody. Possession back to Shenandoah. Jet hasn't been tested a whole lot today. So far, 3 shots on goal for Lynchburg. 2 came in the same sequence. He got the save against Shalita and then rebound score from Mega. But other than that one run, Shenandoah's done a really good job. And credit has to go to the back line. We talked about Lynchburg and how much that veteran leadership from Phillips, Foley, Dale, Daly all come into play. But the young group for Shenandoah doing a fantastic job as well, especially after the first 10 minutes or so where Mega and Lagana both had chances behind the defense, and ultimately then in the 19th minute it was Mega scoring, the only goal we've seen so far. But Chris Chaplin, Logan Whitted, sophomore and freshman respectively, noticed them a lot on the defensive end. Also had Matthew DeLugos, another freshman coming from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Pass to the box. Tapped away by Shenandoah, picked up by Pacunas, the senior and brother to assistant coach Ryan Pacunas. Yared gets past one Lynchburg defender, looks long, misses over the head of Floor. Ennis is there. Less than 5 minutes left in the first half. Shenandoah looking to get back to where they were at the onset of this match if you missed it. Shenandoah came out firing on the offensive side. And also the defense was able to come forward, create some turnovers, apply that press. But from right around the time of that goal in the 19th minute, the press hasn't been able to come as far, and we haven't seen Shenandoah have those long, sustained runs, keeping the ball at the feet of Yared or Jason Acosta, Nicholas Favre. Instead, the chances have become few and far between for the visiting Shenandoah Hornets, looking to play spoiler day as the 7th seed against the number 2 seed Lynchburg. Pacunas has some space, gives it over to Quiroz Gutierrez, left-footed strike, denied by Jet. Shenandoah's defense did a great job once Gutierrez got the pass, cutting off the angle, and the only way that Quiroz Gutierrez could have beaten Jet was on the near side post, but the junior keeper was ready, got his hands up, and a big save for Jet. Keeps it at 1-0. Goes down as the 3rd save for the Shenandoah goalkeeper. Lynchburg crowds the box. Liam Lovell finds the foot of Carter Averett. He scored the last time these two teams saw the pitch back in March 2021, and Averett does it again. Lynchburg moves ahead 2-0. Second goal of the year for Carter Averett. The assist goes to Lovell, his second on the season. Beautiful ball near post, and it's tough to get a foot on that. Averett able to do just so. getting behind Nathan Yared. And now Lynchburg creates some breathing room and hold a 2-score advantage. And we're down to 3 minutes left in the first half. If you listen to these LHSN broadcasts, I talk about this window of time period. The very end of the first half, very beginning of the second half is momentum minutes. They really set the tone for, one, how you go to the break in this occasion, and then once you get back out in the second half, what the rest of the second half is going to look like in that first 5 to 10 minutes or thereabouts. So score there from Averett not only extends the Lynchburg lead, but it keeps momentum on the side of Lynchburg and boosts spirits that much more. Additionally, puts that much more stress on Shenandoah once they get to the break. The deficit feels that much larger, especially against a really sound and experienced defense. The task grew that much larger for Shenandoah. But you do have halftime to try to create some adjustments. Zach McDougall's done a good job leading this team through 3 years. Got to think he's got a few things to change and some adjustments that could get Shenandoah right back into it. This is a chance to try to get that goal back, too. Free kick. Popped up by DeLugos. And it's the first one to it. And watching that play from the near side, felt like it parted perfectly for Ennis. Get a clean angle on the loft from DeLugos. Chaplin heads it back to Jet. Long ball intended for Yared. Picked up by Allen. Race to the end line. Allen, last touch he had, betrayed him a little too strong, and it rolls across the end line. Less than a minute in the first half. Now we're starting to see some more cloud coverage over Schellenberger Field. So as the sunset subsides, we're down under 30 seconds. Nice pass. Miller lays it off for Lovell. Got the assist on that score from Averett. 20 seconds and counting. Can Shenandoah steal one before halftime buzzer? Out wide. Brendan Zabava can't get the pass from Yared. And Setdale will be in no rush to throw it in. And that will bring a close to the first half between Lynchburg and Shenandoah. It has not disappointed. The visiting Shenandoah Hornets find themselves down by a pair of scores at the hands of the number 2 seed. Lynchburg will step aside, come back with stats and everything you need to know from the first set of 45. So don't go anywhere. More between Lynchburg and Shenandoah coming to you on LHSN.
My name is Joshua Carr. I am a senior. I am a theater major as well as a history minor. I live in 5th Street, the historic black neighborhood. The money came in, transfer, scholarship, all that. I appreciate that greatly. I'm smart too. So they gave it like, you smart, here. You know what I'm saying? You come here to do a job. I came here to do a job. A student's job is to get that degree and make something of ourselves. I love the diversity here. I love the different interests of people here. I can teach somebody that doesn't know what I know, and that person can teach me something that I don't know that they know. So that's what I love about my school. They respect that and they allow us to showcase and voice our expressions. That's what you get here. You get diversity, you get different people with different knowledge coming together, sharing information and helping each other out. That's what I love. That's why I say people. I love the people here.
If you want to know your customers, shop where they shop. Live where they live. And spend time with them as neighbors. With over 100 local offices, Virginia Farm Bureau agents are part of your community. If you want insurance from a company that knows you, get to know us.
Get small classes, nationally recognized mentoring and advising, and a community that has your back every step of the way at the University of Lynchburg.
We welcome you back to Lynchburg, Virginia. University of Lynchburg out in front of Shenandoah 2-0 through the first 45 minutes of play. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's the second game of the quarterfinal slate. Washington and Lee holds on and tops Hampton-Sydney 1-0 out in Lexington, Virginia. So the 1 seed advances. Lynchburg, number 2 seed, looking to do the same and in a good spot now. Here's some of the stats, here some of the stats from the first set of 45. And it was evenly fought for the majority of it, but I've had coaches tell me it's hard to be a better team for 90 minutes. And really this game feels like it's been even. And then Lynchburg's had the differentiating 5 or so minute stretches where they got each of their scores, the first coming from Luke Mega in the 19th, the second coming from Carter Averett in the 42nd. And that's where you see the differentiations and 3 more shots for Lynchburg, 4 on goal. And that, in turn, leads to Travis Jett having a couple of more saves. But really entertaining first 45 minutes of play between these two teams. Shenandoah looking for their first win against Lynchburg since 1999 and their first since joining the ODAC in 2012. Meanwhile, for Lynchburg, looking to make it 15 consecutive W's against Shenandoah, and both sides played really well. Overall, the difference, I think, Shenandoah came out swinging in the first 10 minutes. Lynchburg able to weather the storm, and then over time wore down Shenandoah. But now with a chance, 15 minutes in between the first and second half, chance for Shenandoah to really recollect and gather themselves, get back to where they were the onset of this match once we get to the second half of play. Those were the stats. We'll step aside, show you some of the highlights from the first half of action between Shenandoah and Lynchburg. So don't go anywhere. More between both Hornets. Coming to you on LHSN.
Never think that your donation is in vain, because you're helping out hundreds of students that are just like me, who need a shot and who are getting one. Without donations, without you individuals that are helping to donate to the university and the Lynchburg Fund, there would be no student body president, Davion Washington. There'd probably be I'm stuck at home, Davion Washington. Not only is your donation building leaders, but it's building leaders like myself and others that will hopefully want to pay it forward one day and do the same thing. I know for a fact that, when I have it, because I want to give back to this university that provided me a home for 4 years.
When you come to the University of Lynchburg to earn a master's degree in athletic training, you'll spend time in the classroom, but you'll also spend a lot of time in our top-notch facilities learning from athletic trainers and working closely with our student athletes. In the Graduate Cadaver Lab, you'll learn about the human body in the best way possible, by actually studying the human body. This will provide a foundation to make you a much better athletic trainer. In the Athletic Training Laboratory, you'll get hands-on experience, practicing your skills, applying concepts from the classroom, and working with faculty on research projects. It's also where our hydrotherapy facilities are. This space is also used by students for studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic and Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes from more than 20 NCAA Division III sports teams, helping get them back to practice and into the game as soon as possible. As an athletic training student, you're a big part of the success of our sports teams and the success of the local athletic teams. We see this relationship as a win-win situation. You learn, and that helps us win.
Welcome back to Lynchburg, Virginia. It's halftime between Shenandoah and the University of Lynchburg. Battle of the Hornets, 2 versus 7 seed. We'll show you some of the highlights from the first set of 45. I'll give you some additional stats. We looked at it from a team perspective. Now we'll do so from an individual look. 3 shots, 2 on goal for Luke Mega, and of course a goal. I'm getting ahead of myself. The second goal for Lynchburg came on Carter Averett's backheel attempt off a corner from Liam Lovell. That's his only shot and shot on goal so far. And then only 2 other players for Lynchburg have recorded a shot, and that was Brennan Lagana and Monzi Shalitas. Shalitas was on goal for Shenandoah. Only a couple of shots in the first half. Nathan Yarrett had one, Connor Robles, and then the final came from Logan Whitted, shot on goal from the freshman center back for Shenandoah, and that has translated to also Matthew Allen had a shot, I beg your pardon, one more shot to give you there for Shenandoah, and that has then led to 1 save for Justin Ennis for Lynchburg and 3 for Travis Jett for Shenandoah between the posts. You can see the setting here in Lynchburg, Virginia. A little bit gloomy, but also we'll take this opportunity to congratulate Lynchburg men's and women's cross country, coming away with the ODAC championship titles. They will be ringing the victory bell at the end of this match. So a lot going on the campus of the University of Lynchburg, but Lynchburg picking up right where they left off last spring, winning 8 ODAC titles. They've already got 2 in 2021-2022 academic calendar year. We'll take one more pause, get you set for the second half with everything you need to know, talk some adjustments a little bit as we get underway in the second set of 45 between Shenandoah and Lynchburg. So don't go anywhere. More coming to you on LHSN.
living the dream. USA, Mexico. That was so exciting.
If you like being close with your professors, if you like being in small classes that help with one-on-one, if you like being in positive communities that help you train your weak points and strengthen your strong points, then the University of Lynchburg is a great place to go. You can never go wrong with the amount of help that they offer, the amount of self-sacrifice that other people will put in for you. It has a beautiful campus, it has dedicated teachers, it has nice students, it has fun activities, and it has plenty of things to do.
Fans are ready for the second half. We are as well. 2-0. Lynchburg out in front of Shenandoah. Players retaking the pitch, getting set for the second set of 45. Give you some ideas for adjustments for both these sides. You're watching this ODAC quarterfinals men's soccer bracket on LHSN. TJ Wingert here with you. Thank you all for spending some of your Saturday afternoon with us. For Lynchburg, overall, if you can continue the progression you had from Mega's goal in the 19th onward, you're in a great spot to try to hold on and make it 15 consecutive wins against Shenandoah. Meanwhile, for Shenandoah, things get a little tricky because I liked what I saw and the aggressive nature they were playing with in the first 10 minutes. The defense was creating offense, and the offense was putting a lot of pressure on Lynchburg, forcing them to be patient and pass along the back line. And overall, Shenandoah did a great job winning possession at midfield in the first 10 minutes, and then things started to shift. Then the mega goal, and then ultimately momentum was on the side of Lynchburg. So, simply put, for Shenandoah, if you can get back to where you were at the onset of this match, you have a chance to try to overcome that 2-goal deficit against a very tough Lynchburg defense that has stymied opponent after opponent. 5 shutouts over the last 10 games of the regular season for Lynchburg's defense. So, it's tough to overcome a multi-goal deficit, but at the same time, Nathan Yared, Nicholas Vavra, and plenty of others, Connor Robles as well for Shenandoah, have been all factors on the offensive side. And it's a young team, and that can lead to some things you just can't expect. Additionally, if Shenandoah loses, they're down to the last 45 minutes of their season, and just naturally that component adds an extra element, added boost for Shenandoah. Early possession handled by Lynchburg. Bakunis had a defender on his backside, then lost it. Shenandoah with a throw in on the far side. 7-4 shot advantage for Lynchburg in that first half. And that stat just signals it was overall pretty close between these two teams. And as I said during the halftime show, it just felt like there were 2 separate 5-minute segments where Lynchburg truly proved they were the more dominant team. Now, can Shenandoah emulate and do the same against Lynchburg? I've liked what I've seen from a number of players, and I think this is a young but uber-talented Shenandoah team. So, one, look out for the future of this program in the ODAC. But additionally, again, young teams, sometimes that brings unpredictability in both a good and bad sense. But here with your season on the line, you could see these young players really band together and put together a showing in one half against Lynchburg that we really haven't seen any opponent have against the number 2 seed in the ODAC postseason picture. Buckler has it taken away by Carter Averett. Junior passes forward for Pacunas, the senior. Lays it off for Dale. Right back. Sends it to the box. Mega comes in, headed. Then finds the hands of Travis Jett. Terrific save for the junior from Maryland. And a big stop to keep it at 2-0. Beautiful ball from Dale. Great timing from Mega. Which ultimately, some better goalkeeping take away the potential for the third goal in the day for Lynchburg. And if the Lynchburg Hornets were to convert here, make it 3-0, then you could be looking at a very potential early dagger. Don't want to rule anything out, but Robles at the post, sends it the near side portion of the 6. Looking for Foley, headed away. It's going to be another corner. It's actually going to be a throw-in from Lagana. That makes a little bit more sense. I was confused as to why Joey Daly wouldn't have been going out to the post. He normally takes the near side corners. That's because it's a throw-in. Nothing doing on the chance for Lynchburg. Shenandoah gets a stop. Now can they do something on the offensive end? It doesn't necessarily even have to be a goal here. You're looking for something to just capture some momentum. And take it away from Lynchburg and put yourself in a position for success ultimately. And it's tough to overcome a 2-goal deficit against anybody, but especially against this Lynchburg squad. It's so possession-oriented, has the good defense we talked about. So it's got to start somewhere for Shenandoah, and you got to think it's got to start relatively quick. Poked away by Lynchburg, goes all the way back out to Chris Chaplin. Booms it forward. The intended target being Jack Meixner. He was about a step away from getting it just in front of Ennis. Mega with the right foot, lays it off for Robles. Trying to swing it out to the far side for Pacunas. Instead deflected ahead to Lagana Shalita for Mega. Back out to Dale. He'll send it inside the 18 once again. Sent away by Shenandoah. Averett. Over to Daly. Left-footed pass. Mega on the backside. Leaves the shot high and wide. Really tough angle for Mega to take that shot from. But you saw a few more Lynchburg players be able to get behind Shenandoah's back line and create the look. Lots of contact. Phillips is going to be called for the foul. Free kick on the way for Shenandoah. Nothing intentional in that play. Two players going at it at a high level. Buckler take the free kick. Sends it, gets it inside the 6. Headed down, looking for Yared. Timely clear, looks like Foley got his foot on it. Acosta working against Robles. Lynchburg keeps it, and Dale fields one right off the shin. Looks like he and Acosta both went after it. Dale found the ball first, so then Acosta found Dale's shin. That is uncomfortable to say the least, but Dale, okay. Stays out on the pitch. Mega works in the midfield. Good ball forward. Little too long, looking for Kenny Robles. Pair of juniors are lethal as key fixtures in the Lynchburg attack. They're both so good at not only creating for themselves, but they play with so much awareness, soft touch on their passes. They can create for one another or anybody on the Lynchburg roster. Nice sequence. Lagana able to keep it in along the end line. Looked like Champlin for sure was going to be able to nudge it across that end line. But instead, Lagana keeps it in. Unfortunately, though, if you're a Lynchburg fan, might have preferred Champlin to send it out, and then you get the corner from the far side as the result of Lagana's run is a goal kick for Jet. So if you missed it earlier, this is game 2 of a 4-game quarterfinal slate. Washington and Lee knocks off Hampton-Sydney 1-0. That match got underway at 1 o'clock. So the Generals, the number 1 seed, advance. Lynchburg, the number 2 seed, in the driver's seat, looking to do the same. Later at 6 o'clock, we'll have the 4-5 matchup. Randolph plays host to Roanoke. And then at 7, the 3-6 matchup, Randolph-Macon taking on Virginia Wesleyan. And the winner of that 3-6 game, we'll see the winner of this contest between Lynchburg and Shenandoah. He already gets a foot on it. Not an overly hard-hit shot. Foley sends it right back out. Pass over to Acosta. Sent away by Dale. Headed towards Ennis off the noggin of Vavra. Sophomore finished 4th in the ODAC. 9 goals during the regular season. Only 1 in the final 4 games. Ennis again showcases a leg. Changes field position so much that Lynchburg's thrown in inside the attacking third. What a great weapon that is. And it not something you necessarily talk about with keepers. You're obviously thinking of, how quick do they react? Do they have good judgment? Are they decisive? How big of a wingspan? That helps, obviously, taking shots from every which direction. What do the numbers look like? Goal against average, save percentage, everything of that nature. But talks about in the first half, Ennis' ability to just flip fields is a huge asset for Lynchburg. Averett out wide for Lagana. Shenandoah wants the offside call, won't get it. Pacunas on the header chance. Misses over the post. And Pacunas, holding his head afterwards, knew he missed an opportunity to give Lynchburg the 3-0 lead. Great scoring opportunity for Lynchburg. Shenandoah keeps it at 2-0 instead. Lugos ahead for Yared. Phillips does a good job holding his position. Shenandoah does earn the throw-in, but now Lynchburg with a chance to set up their defense completely. The Lugos will have the honors of the throw-in. Again, it's Yared versus Phillips. Been a fun matchup all day long. Continues to be. Goal kick coming for Ennis and Lynchburg. Gonna have a substitution as Minor Menendez, sophomore from Woodbridge, Virginia, checks in for Jack Meitzner. And it was Meitzner checking in for Menendez right around the midway point of the first half. Now the two trade places once again. Ennis all the way out to the end of the G. The Lynchburg across the pitch. Averett can't handle the loose ball. Throwing in positive territory for Shenandoah. So both these teams looking to advance to the semifinals. For Shenandoah would be their first win against Lynchburg since joining the ODAC in 2012. This is the first ever postseason appearance for Shenandoah since joining the ODAC. Got some work to do to try to get into that position. Meanwhile, Lynchburg, they hold on to the lead they have now, maybe tack onto it. They're one step closer in their pursuit of going back-to-back as ODAC champs. Yared with Foley on his hip. Lays it off. Robles. Connor Robles, that is. Wanted Acosta, poked away by Dale, picked up by Pacunas. Acosta charging in towards Dale, gets the pass off to Shalita. Patrick Pacunas back to Shalita. The first touch betrays the sophomore. A shove against Buckler from Pacunas. No foul on the play, much to the disapproval of the Shenandoah bench. Lynchburg's going to fully reset the offense. Swinging around the back line. Crowd continues to build on the far side of Dr. Jack Tom's track. Lynchburg with the win will also be in a position to stay undefeated at home. 7-0-1 in the regular season. Really impressive mark. Lagana gets a little bit of space away from Whitted. Gives to Mega, looking for his second. Jet comes in, gets his hands on it. Loose ball, gets away from him for a moment, but Jet then springs on it and keeps it from going across the end line, so no goal kick. Or excuse me, no corner kick for Lynchburg. Instead, a goal kick for Jet. We talked about it in the first half with Ennis, but you see it from Jet. Being decisive, quick to making decisions and going at it. Worst place you could find yourself if you're a goalkeeper is in no man's land, in between two decisions. And despite giving up 2 goals today, I've been really impressed with the junior Travis Jet, the lone upperclassman, the starting 11 for Shenandoah. It's a very young team for Coach Zach McDougall. Just in his 3rd year at the helm. Was hired by Shenandoah after just 1 year at Mary Washington when the Eagles went 14-1-5, made an NCAA tournament appearance. And before coaching at Mary Washington, Coach McDougall was a coach at USA South powerhouse North Carolina Wesleyan for a year. Also was the top assistant for Randolph College, obviously not far away from Lynchburg. Also should be noted, Coach McDougall was a part of the inaugural recruiting class at Randolph, where he played for the Wildcats. So it's interesting, you look at both these coaches, former players for ODAC programs. Coach McDougall for Randolph College and for Chris Yeager. Played, then coached at Virginia Wesleyan, and Coach Yeager, top defender in 1992 for the Marlins, Rookie of the Year in 1990, Team MVP in 93. Started all 85 career games for Virginia Wesleyan. And just as good as he was as a player, he's been a fantastic coach, first as an assistant for Virginia Wesleyan, and now 19 years in, leading this Lynchburg men's soccer program. Been Coach of the Year 6 times for the ODAC, once nationally. Won the conference 7 times, including last year, looking for number 8. Less than 30 minutes left in regulation. No rush for Lynchburg. They'll be patient. We're getting a part of the match where Shenandoah has become more and more present of the clock. And because of that, you might see them forced into more aggressive situations and more risky propositions, as you got to do what you got to do to try to keep it close and overall try to overcome the 2-goal deficit. Lagana makes it past a myriad of Shenandoah defenders. Hopefully Minor Menendez gives back to Jet. Keeper can't keep it in, so throw in from the far side, coming in from Joey Daly. Dale for Averett. Ahead for Shalita. Shenandoah holds the run just a second. Lynchburg works across the four-man back line. Foldy forward. Good pass to Bakunis. Maybe a touch too strong. Dale rolls it back to Ennis. And the offensive opportunities for Shenandoah so far in the second half have been few and far between. Yared nearly created one for himself. And he continues to bring that press high. Only tough part for Shenandoah is that the passing from Foldy, Phillips, Dale, Daly is just so precise that a lot of times one-man press just isn't enough. They started this match with Vavra also up top, Connor Robles applying some pressure. But as the match has gone on, Shenandoah has been forced to bring numbers back because Lynchburg's mounted some progression on the offensive side. Subs for both sides. Check it back in for Shenandoah as Pedro Flor. Liam Lovell returns to the turf for Lynchburg. They come on for Nicholas Vavro, who we were just talking about, and Patrick Bakunis, respectively. See another throw in from Seth Dale. The lone non-senior or grad student. The back line for. And Luke Mega gets his second. Lynchburg moves ahead 3-0. And when you need a score, Luke Mega there, come through. 10th on the season for the junior. On a great ball, and again, Lynchburg can strike it a moment's notice, and Mega able to convert despite Nicholas McConty right on his hip, and Jet right in front of Mega. He was our Lynchburg player to watch for good reason. Second on the day, Lynchburg well out in front, 3-0 now. Now a spot for Lynchburg to control possession and keep the clock rolling throughout the rest of this contest. Just over 25 minutes left till the end of regulation. Averett, good ball ahead. Lagana denied by Jet. Off the left foot of the junior goalkeeper, but yet another scoring opportunity for Lynchburg. A save will give Lynchburg a corner opportunity. Beautiful ball from Averett. And Whitty does a good job making the angle tough for Lagana, try to best his keeper. Another opportunity where Lynchburg was able to get behind Shenandoah back line, however. The far side post, the corner, makes it all the way across the box, picked up by Lovell. Chaplin, the closest defender, centers it up inside the box. Averett tries to get ahead on it. Not the first to it. Dale comes up. Tries to create another chance for Lynchburg. Nobody there. Off the pass from the junior. Goal kick for Travis Jett. Jack Meixner back into the contest. And Trevor Miller also checking in. Miller gets the pass from Whelan. Robles has it taken away by Connor Robles. And for those who were wondering, Bailey Kern's not able to play today due to getting his 5th yellow in the season finale against Bridgewater, so a 1-game suspension. Not necessarily coming at the best of times for Lynchburg. It's down in the quarterfinal, but luckily enough for Kearns, Lynchburg team able to keep their momentum moving forward. It was a 7-game win streak at the end of the regular season, and that good play has carried into the postseason action. Lynchburg was able to weather the storm from Shenandoah the first 10 minutes or so. And as the game has progressed, it's felt like a more and more dominant showing for the red and black. Today it's red and gray. Good pass from Miller. Mega. Can he get the hat trick? He can! Mega's been brilliant today, and he moves Lynchburg ahead 4-0. '11th on the season for the junior. Works to his right and seizes on the opening against Travis Jett's right side. Luke Mega certainly been the player of the match so far. And it looks like Mega's now going to check out, as does Carter Averett. Sebastian Quiroz Gutierrez checking in. As well as Michael Rendon, the other sub for Lynchburg. But a great way for Mega to likely end his day. The hat trick showing in the postseason. And if the second goal for Mega wasn't the dagger, the third was. 4-0 Lynchburg. 22 minutes left in regulation. Couple subs for both sides. Patrick Perkunis will check in at the next dead ball, actually. And Logan Whitted is going to sub out. And coming on in his place is Christopher Wood, sophomore from Woodbridge, Virginia. 13th game played. Popped up by DeLugos. Settled by Connor Robles. Wood trying to swing it out for Yared. Rendon's going to be called for the foul just ahead of the midfield line. And the clock will stop, and Rendon's going to be awarded the yellow. As they set for the free kick. Here's another look. I'll let you be the judge at home. First card we've seen given out today. On the ball is Jack Meixner. Meixner goes long, sends it right to Justin Ennis. Did not have to move, but maybe a step to his right. And so far on the day, it has not been an overly busy one for Justin Ennis. Just one save. Shenandoah has only put one shot on goal towards the senior keeper. As I've said a couple times, after the first 10 minutes where Shenandoah came out throwing heavy haymakers to start the battle with Lynchburg, after that, the pressure put on Lynchburg's defense and Ennis in specific has subsided exponentially. Lots of physical play. Foley comes flying in, and he's going to get called for the foul and awarded the yellow. Lynchburg's bench beyond irate at a couple players taking hard contact in positive territory. And at the very end of the play, Foley comes flying in, as you saw on your screen. Pause in the play allows Josh Auger to check in. Auger is going to come on for Nick Foley. So Foley out, Auger on. Auger, when Foley's had to miss games due to his physician's associate program, Auger has been inserted in the starting lineup. And also, last time these two teams faced one another in March of last year when they actually saw the pitch, keep in mind, earlier meeting between the two teams was forfeited due to COVID-19 protocols on the Shenandoah side. Lynchburg's defense gets the stop and clears out towards midfield. Stay with Shenandoah, however. Throw-in's going to be brought right back as Patrick Bakunis is going to check in for Lynchburg and Braden Gallant for Shenandoah. But to continue my point, in that meeting in March 2021, Josh Auger, one of the 3 Lynchburg Hornets to score, the other being Carter Averett, who also scored today. And then the first came from Ben Mackey. Miller carries forward, gives back to Whelan. Parlayed over to Sebastian Gutierrez, who can't handle. Off the chest. Picked up by Chaplin. Sophomore. Moves forward with plenty of pace. Has Yared. And has it taken away by Auger. Auger, a sophomore from Greensboro, North Carolina. 8th game played on the season. Bakunis gives back to Phillips. Under 20 minutes left in regulation. As I noted earlier, you will not see Lynchburg in too much of a rush now. Yellow card for Foley, by the way, just his second, so he is not in the same position that Bailey Kearns is in, where he is potentially facing a suspension like Kearns is today. Whelan looks wide on the far end of the pitch for Sebastian Quiroz Gutierrez. Lynchburg deflects it back out to Bakunis, who takes lots of contact from the backside, and this is going to irritate the Lynchburg bench that much more. This time the contact comes from Jack Meixner, senior from Reston, Virginia. Lynchburg faithful in attendance, just as upset as well. But it's a spot here where Lynchburg, you have to be careful. One, you don't want a card, because if you get to 5, you could be potentially facing a suspension. Not too many players where that would be applicable to, but a yellow or red could also lead to some troublesome situations. Bakunis comes flying in, and Lynchburg can't believe it. Bakunis got to it right before Meixner. Overall, the official ruling, the contact goes against the player instead of a play on the ball. Free kick given to Shenandoah. Meixner over the ball. Low line drive right to Auger. Poked outside the 18. Miller clears it all the way out back to the Shenandoah half of the pitch. So if the score holds, the top two seeds will both advance. Washington and Lee got the best of the 8-seed Hampton-Sydney. 1-0 out in Lexington, Virginia, and it's 4-0 here in Lynchburg. Deflected off of Lovell's body. Shenandoah gets their first corner on the afternoon. Meixner heads out to the near post. And Colin Ennis is going to check in for Shenandoah, the brother of Justin Ennis. Gainesville, Virginia natives staying opposed to one another on the pitch. Ennis punches this one free and now cleared away by Dale. Really fun story as Ennis comes on for a Travis Jett. Makes my job as a broadcaster a little harder to differentiate which Ennis is which, but Justin Ennis, the senior for Lynchburg, stands juxtaposed to Colin Ennis, a junior. And it's not often you get to see brothers out on the pitch at the same time. I'd argue even rarer that they're playing against one another. It's a really cool opportunity here. Just under 15 minutes left to be played. On the season for Colin Ennis, this becomes just his second game played. He's able to see the field for just under 29 minutes in a 6-0 victory over Wilson. That came back on September 18th. Primary keepers have been Travis Jett, but in his 8-game absence, we saw Dylan Johnson in the starting lineup for Shenandoah. Johnson also played in one other additional contest. Continue my point. Washington and Lee advances. Lynchburg in a position to do the same. At 6 o'clock, we'll see Randolph play host to Roanoke, 4-5 battle. And then at 7 o'clock, Randolph-Macon out in Ashland, Virginia will take on Virginia Wesleyan. And that winner of that 6-3 matchup will take on Lynchburg as it stands right now, assuming the score holds at 4-0. DeLugos clears it on the near sideline. Throw in for Lynchburg. Luke Boyce and Cameron Claremont both check in for Lynchburg. Third game played for the senior Luke Boyce. Fourth for the freshman Claremont. And senior from Nokesville, Virginia, Austin Gelios checks in for Shenandoah, his 6th game play of the year. Claremont launches towards the 6. Headed away. The clear attempt off the chest of Lovell. Handles it well. Good trap for the junior from Haymarket, Virginia. Pacunas picked up his first collegiate start in the season finale against Bridgewater. It was senior day, so fitting opportunity for the senior Pacunas. Get his name etched into the starting 11. It was also a big day for Michael Rendon. He made his first start of the year and picked up his first collegiate goal on a penalty kick. Joey Daly also got a goal off a PK in that matchup. It was his second on the year. He actually scored the first goal on the season for this Lynchburg men's soccer team against Covenant. Carried the ball forward on the near side, and just before the end of the first half, 42nd minute if my memory serves, from outside the box, left-footed strike bent away from the Covenant keeper and into the top right corner of the post. More substitutions for Lynchburg. Enrique Morales, sophomore for Manassas, Comes on for Griffin Phillips. Michael Rendon will check out, and Cesar Acosta comes on in a spot. The throw-in goes to Acosta. Taken away by Mike Snert. Lofts it ahead. Morales tasked with keeping up with Floor. Pedro Floor lets it fly. Not enough bend. Bring it back on goal. Goal kick for Justin Ennis. And unless Shenandoah can put one on the back of the net, it'll become 4 consecutive games played for Justin Ennis without allowing a goal. Last time he gave up a score, October 9th at Washington and Lee, 3-1 loss for Lynchburg. But today marks 3 weeks to the day since that occurrence has happened. In that duration, there was also a start from Kyle Gallagher in the mix. Boyce gives back to Justin Ennis. At the conclusion of this match, a ringing the bell ceremony taking place here on the University of Lynchburg's campus, just past Schellenberger Field, to commemorate and celebrate men's and women's cross-country programs here at Lynchburg, coming out as ODAC champs. Congratulations to just a few names here. Max Sparks and Frank Sorba finishing 1-2. Men's 8K. Kelsey Lagunas came in first for the women's 6K race. Great showing for Lynchburg, the campus of Bridgewater College. And it comes on the heels of Lynchburg winning 8 ODAC titles last spring. And here we are, not even in November, 2 under the belt for Lynchburg. Acosta plays it over. Quiroz Gutierrez back to Acosta. Cesar Acosta has been a really nice player when he's been able to see the pitch. 9th game played for the freshman from Midlothian, Virginia. And he's someone who typically will come on towards the end of the first half. You'll see him a little bit in the second half. And he just plays with high motor, good spark as a good reserve. And it's always a great opportunity for a program trying to get those young players some minutes, especially in meaningful contests. This may be 4-0, but this is postseason play. As Lovell, great hustle, keeps it in, deflects it off the body of Gelios. So it's going to be a corner for Lynchburg with 8.5 left in regulation. Carl Hare checks in, as does Josiah McCaskill, who you're watching this broadcast on LHSN. Check out top plays of October. Josiah McCaskill coming away with that #1 play. And if you haven't seen it yet, it was an absolute treat. It was the 5th and final goal in a match against Eastern Mennonite. You're seeing Carl Hare at 6'4", out to the post. Pass goes to the front of the 6, deflected away immediately by Shenandoah. So Hare will do it once more. Hare tries again, punched away by Colin Ennis. And out on the inline once again. How about another corner for Lynchburg? Cesar Acosta will take this one from the far side post. Carl Hare now in front of the box. Keep in mind that tall frame. Pass won't make it there. Whistle blown right as Acosta inserted the corner. So that ends the opportunity for Lynchburg. Colin Ennis will play it short. Out in front of him is Minor Menendez. Wood back to Menendez. Wood in the midfield. Slide tackle attempt from Acosta. Auger, the loose ball back to Morales. Sophomore gives to the freshman Claremont. Looking long for Hare, knocked off the ball. Hare ultimately lands on his backside. Now two teams starting to get into it. This is the last thing you want to see at the end of what's been a very entertaining match. Emotions riding high for both these teams. Referee is trying to sort out chaos. Here's another look at it. Hare gets knocked off the ball, then Whelan and Yared beginning a series of shoves between the two sides. Referee stopped the clock, 6:15 left in regulation, and sort over last play. Play is going to be halted a little bit longer, and Zach Whelan's going to be given a yellow, as is Nathan Yard. From my perspective, seems to be correct ruling, and looks like that might not be it. Referee walking over towards Justin Ennis, and the senior keeper, who came at the very end and sorted out the players shoving one another, will also get the yellow. So 3 players given a yellow. We're up to 5 on the match. Just 1 for Shenandoah. It was just awarded to Nathan Yared. There's more subs for Lynchburg. So Morales is going to take the free kick. Just in front of the midfield line. Send it deep, looking for McCaskill. Colin Ennis climbs the ladder. Picks up the free kick off of a hop. Now the junior to punt it away. Whelan wanted Acosta. Instead, it's Christopher Wood giving back to Menendez. A couple of those subs for Lynchburg, by the way. Wilson Bowles and Davis Hallman. Claremont taken to the turf. Then sends it long up the near sideline. Hare couldn't get to it. Gallios will throw in for Shenandoah. 5 minutes. 15 seconds left in regulation, and that's all that separates Lynchburg from advancing the ODAC semifinals. And 5 minutes and 5 seconds now. All that stands to be played in Shenandoah's season. Hallman cuts off the pass, flicks it back towards midfield, picked up by Gallios. Swings to Meixner. Gets it past Hallman. The receiving end of the pass, Pedro Flor. Can't keep it in. Goal kick for Justin Ennis, and actually Ennis is going to give this goal kick to number 0, Noah Gregory. Trevor Miller also checking back in for Lynchburg, but the day for Justin Ennis is over. Goal kick comes from Noah Gregory, junior from Baltimore, Maryland. Third game played for Gregory. So 4-0, less than 3.5 minutes left to be played. And Coach Chris Yeager taking advantage of the big lead late in this contest. It's up to 14 reserves entering the match, and a couple of them are regulars. Michael Rendon's played in every game. Liam Lovell, same could be said. Trevor Miller has been more and more often somebody who comes in towards the end of the first half. Patrick Perkunas, a regular reserve as well. But a big 4-goal advantage gives the opportunity for players like Cameron Claremont, Davis Hallman, Wilson Bowles, Carl Hare, Enrique Morales. Because we haven't gotten to see a whole lot of Luke Boyce as well. Get some run on the turf. It's taken away by Miller. Good ball ahead. Wilson Bowles the intended target. Menendez the first to it, however. Really good angle from the sophomore. Chips it ahead for Christopher Wood. Slide tackle attempt from Acosta. Couldn't poke it away from Floor. Auger wins it for Lynchburg. Has Acosta. Down under 2 minutes left to be played. And Lynchburg seemingly advance to the semifinals and take on the winner of Randolph-Macon and Virginia Wesleyan. That match will get underway at 7 o'clock, so if you are a Lynchburg fan, tune in the Randolph-Macon stream to see who Lynchburg will play this upcoming Wednesday. Meanwhile, for Shenandoah, the next 90 seconds, once it goes final, it will fall to 8-9-2 on the season, 3-5-2 in ODAC play. But still 8-9-2, best record since 2008. And you can start to see this team hit its strides as Wilson Bowles, the somersault toss deep into the box, always gets the fans to their feet. To continue my point about Shenandoah, best program record since 2008. Third-year head coach Zach McDougall. You can see his blueprint starting to build upon itself. And every player in the starting lineup today, figure to have them back next season. And 10 of the 11 in the starting lineup today are underclassmen. So you're talking about a huge crop of freshmen and sophomore getting significant playing time and just going to continue to get better and better. This Shenandoah team certainly has the makings of a team to be a force in the ODAC in years to come. Meanwhile, for Lynchburg, the win takes you to the semis. You take on either Randolph-Macon or Virginia Wesleyan on the path to trying to go back-to-back as ODAC champs. Free kick sent towards Gregory, who had it popped out of his hands for a moment. And then on a rebound chance for Shenandoah, Gregory stretches out with the right hand. Take another look at this. And that will preserve the shutout as Lynchburg holds on and wins in the quarterfinals. 4-0 over Shenandoah. This marks the end of the year for Shenandoah, but like I said, plenty of things looking up for a very young program under a very promising coach in Zach McDougall. Just completed his third year as a lead man for Shenandoah. Meanwhile, as I said, for Lynchburg, they're on to the semifinals. They will host it. It will be Wednesday night, either against Randolph-Macon or Virginia Wesleyan. The 4 goals for Lynchburg coming from Luke Mega 3 separate times, the 19th, 65th, and 68th minute. And the lone non-mega goal came from Carter Averett just before the end of the first half in the 42nd minute. Shenandoah came out swinging the first 10 minutes, but after Lynchburg weathered the storm, every minute that went by felt like a more and more dominant Lynchburg showing here in the quarterfinals. Great game to watch. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Thank you all for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. Really appreciative of you giving us some of your time in your weekend. But that's going to do it for us at Schellenberger Field. For my director, Sam Rice, the rest of our fantastic LHSN broadcast crew, my name's TJ Wingert. One final time, Lynchburg advances, topping Shenandoah 4-0. And until next time, we are signing off.